Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you not to deny the storms of life, but to remind you that the sun still shines beyond every cloud. There is a truth that echoes through the chambers of every successful life. Happiness is not the absence of hardship. It is the mastery of mindset during hardship. Let that sink in. Hard times do not come to destroy you. They come to refine you, test your resolve, and reveal the strength you forgot you had. In fact, your greatest advantage is this: you have the power to choose happiness, even when life seems unfair. Your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. Every action you take, every word you speak, every habit you build, all of it begins with a single thought. If that thought is born out of fear, doubt, or defeat, then your life begins to mirror that negativity. But if your thoughts are shaped by confidence, gratitude, and determination, then your reality starts to change. No matter how difficult life may seem on the outside, most people live as if they are at the mercy of their circumstances, believing that their happiness depends on what happens to them. But this is an illusion. Your mind is not a passive observer. It is a powerful creator. What you allow yourself to dwell on becomes the blueprint for how you feel, what you expect, and what you attract. The danger is this: if you don't deliberately direct your thinking, your thoughts will default to fear, comparison, anxiety, and regret. And once they do, they begin to govern you. You lose control of your mood, your energy, and eventually your behavior. That is why it's not enough to think positive. Once in a while, you must train your mind like a warrior trains for battle. Daily, intentionally, relentlessly. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses to grow. If you're constantly thinking about what's wrong, what you've lost, or how unfair life is, then you are feeding bitterness and frustration. These emotions will bleed into your relationships, your decisions, and your outlook. But if you wake up and decide, today, I will think in a way that serves me, then you reclaim your power, even in the middle of a storm. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing which part of reality you focus on. You can choose to obsess over what's broken, or you can choose to see what still works. You can focus on what you lack, or you can count what you still have. That choice, simple as it sounds, separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. Start small. Catch yourself when your thoughts drift toward hopelessness. Challenge them. Replace them. Speak out loud if you must. I am not my circumstances. I am not my past. I am the thinker of my thoughts, and I choose strength. Over time, this discipline builds mental resilience, the kind that no setback can shake. Because in the end, the battle is not out there. It's in your mind. Win that, and the rest will follow. Adversity is not the enemy. It is the hidden teacher. Life, in its deepest wisdom, does not allow pain without purpose. Every hardship you face, every setback that knocks you down, every failure that breaks your plans, all of it contains within it a hidden seed. And that seed, if recognized and cultivated, can grow into something far greater than what was lost. Most people see adversity as a dead end. They say, "Why me?" They curse the timing, the pain, the unfairness of it all. But those who succeed, truly succeed, are those who learn to ask a better question. What is this year to teach me? What can I build from this? No great life was ever shaped in comfort. Look around at those who inspire you, the leaders, the innovators, the ones who walk with purpose and power. Every single one of them has endured difficulty, and not just endured it. They used it. They transformed their wounds into wisdom, their losses into leverage, their trials into triumph. You must begin to look at adversity not as punishment, but as preparation. When something falls apart, when a door slams in your face, it often means there is another path, a better one, waiting to be revealed. But that path won't appear to the one who gives up. It appears to the one who keeps moving forward, even in darkness, even in doubt. It may not happen overnight. Sometimes the benefit takes time to show itself. It may come in the form of a new opportunity, a new strength you didn't know you had, with a new perspective that forever changes how you live. But it will come, if you keep going. You see, growth is rarely born in ease. It is born when you are stretched beyond what's comfortable, when your back is against the wall and you have no choice but to dig deeper than you ever have before. That's when the seed is planted. And just like any seed, it needs pressure, time, and the right conditions to break open and grow. But here's the catch. You must believe the seed is there. If you don't believe there's any value in what you're going through, you won't look for it. And if you don't look for it, you won't find it. Faith is the light that helps you see the hidden gift while you're still in the darkness. So when life knocks you down, don't just ask, why did this happen? Ask, what can I make of this? Ask, what can I build because of this? Ask, how can I grow so much that this pain no longer defines me, but refines me? You may not control what happens to you, but you do control what it becomes in your story. And when you choose to see adversity not as the end, but as the beginning of something greater, that's when your life begins to rise. Because the truth is timeless. Within every adversity lies a seed, not of suffering, but of strength, not of defeat, but of destiny. And that seed is yours to plant. There is no force more stabilizing in a person's life than having a clear, definite purpose. When you know exactly why you are here, what you are meant to build, serve, give, or become, something inside you locks in. You stop drifting. You stop reacting to every bump in the road. Instead, you start moving with intention, with clarity, and with a kind of inner joy that hardship can't steal. People often search for happiness in temporary things, in money, approval, comfort, or control. But these are fleeting. They shift. They vanish the moment life becomes difficult, and it will. Those surface-level pleasures no longer hold up. What remains is your sense of purpose. Purpose is your emotional anchor. It gives meaning to your struggle, direction to your actions, and dignity to your pain. When you wake up with a reason to rise, a purpose that goes beyond your own convenience, you access a deeper kind of happiness. It's not just a good mood. It's fulfillment. It's a quiet fire inside that keeps burning even when everything else feels cold. Purpose doesn't make life easier, but it makes it worth it. It gives you something to fight for, something to grow into, and something to protect. And here's the beautiful part: your purpose doesn't have to be massive or loud. It doesn't have to be some grand public mission. It just needs to be real to you. It can be serving your family, building something that matters, healing a part of the world, or developing your God-given talents. What matters is that it's clear. Vague wishes create weak actions. But a definite purpose creates sharp focus and unshakable energy. When you live on purpose, even your failures serve you. You see them not as endings, but as redirections. You don't ask, why is this happening to me? You ask, how does this fit into my mission? That single shift, from confusion to conviction, is what separates those who get stuck from those who grow. A clear purpose also frees you from comparison. You stop measuring your life against someone else's timeline or results. Why? Because you're too focused on your own lane. When you know where you're going, it doesn't matter who's ahead or behind. You're not racing them. You're fulfilling a calling. And that brings peace. It's not enough to just want a better life. You must define what better means to you. You must be willing to write it down, speak it out loud, and align your habits with it every day. That's how purpose becomes power, by being precise and practiced. Joy that comes from purpose is different than pleasure. Pleasure fades when comfort is gone. But joy rooted in purpose, in the belief that your life matters, that joy becomes bulletproof. You may cry, you may hurt, but you do not collapse, because you're held up by something greater than emotion. You're held up by meaning. So find that purpose, refine it, own it, make it so clear that even in your lowest moments, you can look in the mirror and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm here for, and no pain will steal that from me. Purpose is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It is the fuel that drives a joyful life, no matter how hard that life may be. Fear is the great thief. It steals time, potential, dreams, and energy. not always with violence, but with hesitation. It whispers questions that paralyzing. What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if it all goes wrong? And before you know it, you're standing still while life moves forward without you. But here's the truth: no great achievement, no breakthrough, no life of meaning was ever built on fear. It was built on faith. The quiet, unshakable belief that what you do matters, even if the outcome isn't guaranteed. Acting with faith doesn't mean being reckless or blind. It means choosing courage in the face of uncertainty. It means taking the next step even when the full path is hidden. It means trusting that progress will come not before you move, but because you move. Faith in its rawest form is action without evidence, yet with the deep conviction that your effort is not in vain. You don't need to have every answer before you begin. In fact, you rarely will. Waiting for the perfect moment is just fear in disguise. The perfect moment is a myth. What you need is a decision to believe more in your purpose than in your doubts. Because every time you choose fear, you shrink your world. But every time you choose faith, you expand it. The happiest and most fulfilled people are not those with no fear. They are those who feel fear and move anyway. They've trained themselves to act in spite of the shaking voice, the racing heart, the unknown result. They've discovered that fear is loudest right before your breakthrough. And if you can act during that noise, if you can hold steady and do it anyway, you rob fear of its power. This principle becomes especially important during hard times. When everything around you seems unstable, fear will try to convince you to freeze, to stop, to withdraw, to wait. But that only deepens the struggle. The way out is through, and the way through begins with movement. Small steps, brave choices, faith-fueled decisions. These are what rebuild momentum and restore belief. Faith is also contagious. When you walk forward with your head held high, even while you're scared, it inspires others. It reminds people that strength isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. You might not be able to see the full staircase, but take the first step, and the next one, and the one after that. You will build confidence as you go, not before. Fear tells you to wait until you feel ready, but faith says you don't have to feel ready to be ready. Readiness is revealed through movement. You'll be surprised how capable you are once you start. And even if you fall, you'll fall forward with new wisdom, new resilience, and a deeper belief in yourself. To live a joyful, meaningful life, especially during seasons of hardship, you must choose to act with faith, not fear. Faith in your vision, faith in your abilities, faith in the possibility that something greater lies ahead, even if you can't see it yet. This mindset does not remove all pain, but it gives you power in the pain. It returns control to you, not your circumstances. So when fear shows up, and it will, don't try to eliminate it. Just refuse to obey it. Let it ride in the backseat, but don't let it touch the wheel. You're the one driving, and faith is the road that leads you out of the storm. No one climbs alone. No one heals alone. No one builds something meaningful without influence, support, or pressure from the people around them. Whether you realize it or not, the company you keep is shaping your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, and even your destiny. That's why it is absolutely essential, especially when life gets hard, to surround yourself with people who lift you, not drain you. In your hardest seasons, your mind is already fighting battles: doubt, fear, fatigue, discouragement. The wrong voices around you will only amplify those battles. They'll tell you to give up. They'll reinforce your limitations. They'll make you feel like it's safer to stay small, to complain, to blend in with mediocrity. And if you're not careful, you'll absorb that energy and call it reality. But the right people, the lifters, the believers, the challengers, they bring something else. They don't just sympathize with your pain. They remind you of your power. They see the vision even when it's cloudy. They speak to the strength in you, not just the struggle. They hold you accountable to your purpose, even when you feel like quitting. And sometimes that's exactly what saves you. You must become intentional about your environment. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, gossip, defeat, or fear, don't be surprised when your life starts reflecting it. You cannot pour clean water into a muddy stream and expect it to stay pure. The atmosphere around you must match the mindset you're working to build, or it will pull you back every time. This doesn't mean you cut people off coldly or act superior. It means you protect your emotional energy like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Energy is contagious. Mindsets are transferable. Spend enough time with people who constantly complain, who find problems in every solution, and you'll find yourself doing the same. But spend time with people who talk about ideas, growth, gratitude, and purpose, and you'll start to think and live differently. In fact, one of the greatest predictors of your future success and happiness is the quality of your inner circle. Who do you go to when you're discouraged? Who challenges you when you're being lazy? Who pushes you to think bigger, act braver, or stay true to your values? These are not just friends. They are lifelines, and you must be that kind of person for others, too. Be someone who lifts, encourages, challenges, and inspires. Don't just look for light, be light, because when you create a community of mutual strength and respect, hard times become manageable and good times become extraordinary. If you're going to climb, if you're going to rise above your current challenges, you need people who speak life into you, not fear. People who fan your flame, not smother it. People who remind you who you are, especially when you forget. Life is too short and too difficult to carry dead weight disguised as friendship. Choose your circle with care. Surround yourself with those who lift your spirit, stretch your mind, and remind you that even when life is hard, you still have a reason to smile, to fight, and to move forward. Because in the end, your environment is not just where you live. It's what you become. So I challenge you today. When life gets hard, don't collapse. Don't curse the sky, smile. Even if it's through tears, choose to rise. Choose to believe. Choose to be happy, not because life is perfect, but because you are more powerful than your pain. Let the fire refine you, not consume you. Let your story be one of courage, resilience, and above all, joy in the storm. Be happy, not someday. Not when things are better. Be happy now, even here, even in this. Thank you.